Yes, everybody. Ross and the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. We've mixed it up a bit. I've gone with Hammer's headlines now rather than this evening. The reason being is I completely forgot that because it's a Monday, June Lopetegui press conference is tomorrow. Damn. You got to wait till tomorrow for the For Sure counter and the Focus monitor. The debut of the Focus monitor. That will be coming to a screen near you tomorrow, not today. But it's Hammer's headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. There are loads of stories going on. We've spoken about Nicholas Fulkrug earlier this morning. Yesterday we spoke about June Lopetegui, the Jacob Steinberg article, saying maybe a heavy defeat against Newcastle could force the board's hands with a number of other managers, head coaches being identified during the international break. But Hammer's headlines, 3 stories. Let's crack on. And let's start with some transfer news. Obviously, 6 weeks or so until the transfer window opens. It does seem that the rumours have already started to arrive in a shed load at the moment. According to Tim Steiden's friend, Sky Sports' Florian Peltenberg, West Ham are reportedly eyeing a move for Hertha Berlin's teenage sensation, Ibrahim Maza. He, as we know, Peltenberg's got strong connections to Tim Steiden and has been relatively reliable in terms of Hammer's transfer news over the last year or so, particularly. Now, the 18-year-old is someone we've spoken about before, is attacking midfielder. He currently plays in the Bundesliga 2. This season so far for Hertha Berlin, 4 goals and 2 assists in 14 appearances to his name. Not just us are interested in him. Several other Premier League clubs are also interested, the likes of Southampton, Wolves, Fulham, Brentford, and Newcastle, as well as Bundesliga 1, or just Bundesliga clubs, also monitoring his situation. His future basically hangs on Hertha Berlin getting promoted or not. His contract doesn't run out until 2027, I believe, but they have a gentleman's agreement that if they don't go up this year, that they would be happy for him to go. It could be anywhere between, well, probably more likely to be 13 to 20 million euros is the price tag over his head. He, despite going through German youth international ranks, recently he changed his allegiance to Algeria and has recently had his first full international cap for that nation. Now, I don't think this is one for January. It seems unlikely, particularly with them in the midst of a title push or a promotion push in Bundesliga 2. However, it may be something that we can look at as a long-term solution, potentially for Lucas Paqueta, particularly if they fail in a move for James McAtee, for example, who's someone we've been linked with for January. So, or it could be a case of, this one, maybe James comes in January and maybe Mazza is someone we look at coming in the summer, potentially. I don't know. But it does seem that we are, and he's a name we've spoken about quite a bit, but I said, according to Florian, anything with Florian, I sort of take a little bit more sort of validity, just because we know who he's going to get the information from, really. But yes, that's the first one. Now, one for January could be the Burnley captain, Josh Brownhill. Now, there could be the battle for the Brownhill in January. Now, according to several reports, West Ham are one of a host of clubs interested in signing the Burnley man in January, particularly. His contract runs out in the summer, which is classic West Ham MO in terms of the types of players we go for. In that Burnley may well want to get something for him rather than nothing for him. Get something from him in January or nothing from him in June. Obviously, it's a gamble for them as well, because he could help them get promoted back to the Premier League potentially, and the money involved there, or maybe they could reinvest that money into someone who's not going to be there, who's going to be there past June, and go for a title push or a promotion push. So he has had 382 league appearances in his career, although most of them being at a lower level, in all honesty. But still, just under a third of them, are Premier League football experienced and playing for a side which is a relatively poor squad, let's be honest. He can play a number of positions. For me, it's like, well, if we're going to get him, why didn't we just keep Flynn Downs? To be honest, arguably say maybe Brown has a bit more energy, maybe, but you're thinking with Freddie Potts coming back next summer, in next season rather. I mean, if it's a case of Guillermo Rodriguez gets his wish and goes back to La Liga, Real Betis, basically they got no money, so it'll probably have to be a loan spell to go back to Real Betis, or indeed a La Liga side might buy him. Then Brownhill coming in could be a decent replacement, but I wouldn't say he's a starter for West Ham. But squad player, energy, something we desperately lack when it comes to our midfield at the moment. If it was a cheapish deal, I wouldn't be too averse to it, but we shall see. And lastly, we go in for the title, the thumbnail story. Keep wanting more. But according to former Everton CEO Keith Winus, he spoke on the Inside Track podcast, saying that West Ham are available for bidders. He also has a consultancy which deals with elite clubs. I don't know if West Ham are one of those elite clubs who deal with his consultancy, but he still has a hand in the game, and he reckons that the valuation has been on the high side for West Ham, but are looking at a club in a very important part of London in terms of development costs, and particularly obviously with the London Stadium. Obviously, you don't own it, but it sort of adds to the valuation. But apparently, he believes there's definitely one eye on an investor coming in. He was quoted saying, "I do expect some movement early in the new year. You'll be looking at a valuation of around £1 billion for the club. Even 2 years ago, you'd have been looking at something like 600 million. But my opinion of where the club would be, that's the sort of price that would be needed for the current ownership to be interested in selling." Now, we know there's no secret that we'd be looking for investors, whether Middle East investors or through Trip looking at North American and Canadian investors. But a full sale, Keith, I don't know, mate. To be honest, not at the moment. Not coming into the new year. Unless someone comes in and offers £1 billion, which they're not going to do. Let's be honest. I can't see it happening, Keith. Sorry, mate, but that's what he says, and that's what we report. But as always with these things, and we've had a little bit of criticism recently about people saying, "Oh, all we do is report," or we try and give it our spin. So we talk about a news item, and then we give it our opinion. For this, can't see it happening, Keith. I'll be honest. I can understand the thought process, but the final details ain't going to happen. Can't see it. And that is it, my friends. Don't forget to check out neesandmamabrand.com for the latest news, reviews, and opiniones. We may well be doing a news show a bit later on. There's plenty of news going around, for sure. And talking about for sure and focus, that'll be tomorrow as we start ramping up the content ahead of the Newcastle game on Monday. The Premier League is back, and so is the for sure counter and the debut of the Focus Monitor. Until then, have a great rest of the day. Stay warm. It's fucking freezing here at the moment in the Bun and Bunker. But take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. And I'll see you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.